Hello guys, welcome back to TFD with another banger. Let's talk about two key pieces for the Indiana Fever right now, the foundation of their entire future. First off, obviously, Caitlin Clark. She's not just the face of the Fever, she's quickly become the face of the entire WNBA. Everything this franchise does moving forward is built around her. Her playmaking, her leadership, her drawing power. Caitlin is the heartbeat of this team, and the main reason Indiana is suddenly back in the national spotlight. But then there's Kelsey Mitchell, a veteran scorer who's been with this team through the ups and downs. She's one of the most consistent offensive threats in the league and a huge part of what makes the Fever dangerous. The question now is whether Indiana can actually keep her. With the new CBA negotiations on the horizon, things could get tricky. Depending on how that plays out, the Fever might not be able to offer what another team with cap space and scoring needs could. And look, I've said before, I think there's a real possibility Kelsey explores her options. It's not about loyalty, it's about opportunity and value. If another franchise looks at her and sees that ready-made scoring punch, they might throw a big deal her way. Meanwhile, we're just about 20 days from that critical November 30th CBA deadline, and if there's no extension, well, a lockout could be on the table. That could change everything for players like Kelsey Mitchell and teams like the Fever.
So the article starts off by saying, Kelsey Mitchell's Fever future at stake in WNBA CBA negotiations. Damn, I gotta click on this. Pending another possible extension, the WNBA and the WNBPA have 20 more days to negotiate a new collective bargaining agreement before a potential work stoppage comes into play. I've been saying this for a while now. I just don't see any kind of work stoppage happening. I really believe both sides are going to come to an agreement and get this thing handled before it ever reaches that point. A lockout? No. I don't think they're going to let it get that far. That's been my standard from day one. Now, the article goes on to say, the new CBA will be historic whenever the sides manage to agree on it. Players are seeking and will receive large salary increases, but the players' union is trying to secure a larger slice of league-generated revenue. It's main as what's wild about all this is that now Napheesa Collier and several other players who've joined or signed with different leagues are actually part of these negotiations. And on top of that, you've got the WNBA draft coming up, which just adds another layer to everything that's going on right now. However, the announcement of a time and date for the WNBA lottery has produced optimism that the sides are progressing toward a new CBA and the start of a new era in women's basketball. It means that some of the league's major players could make surprising decisions about where they will play their basketball from 2026. It's main as, now, Kelsey Mitchell isn't the only big name in this mix. There are several other WNBA stars involved too, which makes this whole situation even more intriguing. It's going to be really interesting to see where a lot of these players ultimately land because, like I said, Kelsey Mitchell was just one of many who are part of this entire picture.
Now, Mitchell could have more control over her Fever future. Now, this is the section that goes on to talk about Indiana Fever guard Kelsey Mitchell will be one of the most coveted players on the market when she, like practically every WNBA player not on a rookie contract, reaches free agency next spring. The ongoing CBA negotiations will affect her as an all-star player who's regarded as an elite scorer, but who does not boast the off-court income of players like Asia Wilson or Fever teammate Caitlin Clark. They're saying Kelsey Mitchell is about to become a household name, and honestly, it makes sense. Right now, Mitchell's salary sits at around $249,000. That's the max for any WNBA player. She's 29 years old, a veteran in her prime, and she's at that point in her career where she could choose to take a smaller paycheck if it means building a super team in Indiana. That's a conversation nobody's really having. Who's willing to sacrifice some of their money for a real shot at a championship in Indy? Because let's be real, there's talent all over this Fever roster. You've got Sophie Cunningham, Lexi Hull, Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, and of course, Caitlin Clark, who's still under that rookie deal. So most of these players aren't under pressure to give up their bread yet. But for someone like Mitchell, the decision could set the tone for the entire team. Who's going to step up and say, you know what, I'll take less if it means we can add more depth? That's what nobody's talking about. The Fever don't need another superstar. They already have elite players, Clark, Boston, Mitchell. That's your core. What they need are more role players, more Sophies, more Lexis, players who can shoot, defend, and do the dirty work that wins championships. You don't need a roster full of stars, you need contributors. And with the upcoming CBA negotiations and so many players entering free agency, this is the perfect time for Indiana to plan strategically. Somebody's going to have to take a pay cut, and that's okay if it means getting the right supporting cast. Coach Stephanie White has often referenced the Golden State Warriors, and it's true. They won 3 titles not just because of Steph, Clay, or Draymond, but because their stars took less money to surround themselves with the right pieces. That's the blueprint. The Fever need that same mindset, role players who know their job, come in, execute, and help Indiana bring home a championship.
How does potential work stoppage impact Caitlin Clark? How is that going to affect Caitlin Clark? Well, I'll say this. I think a lot of the new fans have the league on, let's call it, a trial period. The WNBA should do everything it can to make sure those fans come back, and that means keeping things running smoothly and getting back to basketball on time. It's in their best interest, right? Given that Indiana Fever guard Caitlin Clark is the biggest star in women's basketball, there's naturally a lot of interest around how a potential WNBA work stoppage in 2026 might impact her. The short answer? Not very much. At least not compared to most other WNBA players. ESPN's Michael Vopel explained this in a November 10th article, saying Clark has high-profile endorsement deals that provide her with far more income than her WNBA salary. She's part of a group of players, both veterans and those still on rookie contracts, who could weather a potential work stoppage without financial hardship. That said, a key part of earning those endorsements is visibility, which the WNBA provides. In other words, because number 22 makes so much money off the court, a potential lockout wouldn't affect her as much as it would most other WNBA players who don't have the same level of sponsorship income. As of now, it looks like the next time we'll see her playing competitive basketball will be next year when Team USA takes the court. That remains to be seen, but that's the word on the basketball streets right now. Now, on to Kelsey Mitchell. Indiana Fever guard Kelsey Mitchell will be one of the most coveted players on the market when she, like practically every WNBA player not on a rookie contract, reaches free agency next spring. The ongoing CBA negotiations will heavily affect her as an all-star player known for elite scoring ability, but who doesn't have the off-court income of stars like Aja Wilson or her Fever teammate Caitlin Clark. According to ESPN's breakdown of how the CBA talks could impact players, Mitchell, a 3-time All-Star, was described as someone who doesn't have the off-court brand and endorsement deals to give her a large supplemental income. In other words, if there were a lockout, it would hurt someone like Kelsey Mitchell significantly in the pocketbook. Even as the highest paid Fever player last season, Mitchell's $249,244 salary doesn't exactly put the 29-year-old in a position to take a pay cut if she wanted to help build a super team in Indiana or elsewhere. Mitchell, who set a new franchise record by averaging 20.2 points per game in 2025, has been cored by Indiana, a move that prevents her from signing with another team in free agency, but allows her to earn a supermax salary. A WNBA franchise can core a player for up to 2 years, but a new CBA could limit that designation to just 1 time. If the multi-year core designation disappears, players like Mitchell would gain much more control over where they want to play, something the Fever hope will keep her in Indiana for many years to come. And as Amber Cox has said, the Fever's #1 goal is to make sure Kelsey Mitchell is back.
The Fever have a legitimate big 3. Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and Kelsey Mitchell if they can keep that trio together. Clark and Boston are both still on rookie deals, which gives Indiana some flexibility, but Kelsey is the key piece here. She's the veteran scorer, the stabilizer, and the spark that ties everything together. Now, if she does leave in free agency, the Fever will have options. There are plenty of talented players around the league who could fill that spot, but replacing Mitchell's scoring and leadership wouldn't be easy. Part of her offensive numbers, let's be honest, came during Caitlin Clark's absence due to injury, and once Clark returns fully healthy, some of those shots and stats will naturally shift. The league itself is banking on Clark being healthy next season. The WNBA needs her on the court. The viewership, the fan engagement, everything rises when she's playing. Fans were frustrated during those months of uncertainty about her ankle injury, and many still haven't forgotten how that was handled. So yeah, keeping this Fever core intact matters. It's about chemistry, leadership, and keeping fans invested. Tell me what you think. Don't forget, like and subscribe.